I'm too small. I'm not big enough. I'm not fast enough. I don't have what it takes to be the best and stay there. Sweat is necessary. Walter and Jerry had their heels, never being comfortable with just good enough. It's right now or never! It's right now or never! I prepare so no one can take what is mine. No one can replace my mind, my heart. Lombardi inspired me. And now our biggest prize bears his name. I'm older. Of course I'm older. That's the beauty of it. 16 years plus. A different level of wisdom, different level of understanding, different level of punishment. I want to live long after my records have fallen, long after my rings have tarnished. And whatever you got to do to make sure you chase your legacy every second of your life. Will you be remembered? How would you be remembered? Why wouldn't you fight for the greatest achievement ever? Leave your mark.
What's up, everybody? It's Monday. You know what that is? Mock Draft Monday with your host, Mr. Blake Anthony. Every Monday and Friday, usually every Monday, talking sports here. We got a couple topics to go over today. We're going to go over Wilder versus Fury, Vipers home game versus the Roughnecks, Houston, the CBA, equal pay for females, and of course we'll wrap it up with Mock Draft Monday, and of course we'll take on a bunch of callers and stuff you got to call in. But first and foremost, as you see on the screen, we got a young kid up here named Casey Reynolds passed away. He read off 2019 first round pick. Devin White passed away recently. A lot of the players got to know this kid and wanted to share their condolences to him and his family. And I figured I'd follow suit as well, because it's sad, young man never get to finish out his life. And at least we can do is, pay respects to him while his family grieve in this moment. But let's move on to all the other great shows here on Bucs Report. You've got Beware the Bay, Cannon Fire Podcast, Buckball Podcast, Real Bucs Talk, Red Flag Podcast, Buck What You Heard, Fantasy and Flavors, The Sports Web, Thursday Night Live with Charles Richardson, and of course, can't forget, wash it all down with a cup of Ray. Big shout out to all the Buckaholics groups. Nevada, I'll be checking you out this season as the Buccaneers travel to, I can't say Oakland anymore, Las Vegas. They travel to Las Vegas to play the Raiders in there, so I'll be out there for that one. But before all that, let's get into one of the sponsors real quick. So 1 second. There they are, tires to go. Need anything and services like that? Give me a holler, give them a shout. They'll reach out to you. Contact name there is Mike Munoz. Just tell them I sent you. All right, let's get to this status quo. Deontay Wilder versus Fury. What a fight! I mean, both fighters gain weight, but one difference is I'm not gonna call him not a real boxer. One's a more experienced boxer than the other. Boxer always beats a knockout puncher, and Fury clearly outclassed Deontay Wilder. Same height, same art. Well, Fury had a little longer reach, but he was clearly evenly matched. And except in the ring, Wilder tried to gain some weight to fight Fury. I don't think it really worked out too well for him. Which Fury gained 50 pounds and just bullied Deontay Wilder, and that's pretty much what happened. And I don't think Wilder was ready for it. If he's gonna be a Fury Wilder Part 3, I believe Wilder's probably gonna have to fight him at 218, his normal weight, and then try to beat him like that with more speed and accurate punches, because he seemed to knock him down before. But before, Fury was Still coming off a drug rehab and wasn't in his best shape. So you give him removed 14 months. He got ready and got in shape. And lo and behold, he looks a whole lot different than how it was previously 14 months ago in Saturday's match against him. So Allison, welcome. Ray, welcome. We'll get to Allison's going to call in. She wants to talk about Viper. She can call it, but if she wants to, but we're going to talk about women's equality stuff as far as pay. We'll get to that in a second. Allison, I'll let you know when I'm ready. So Wilder and Fury, we got to that. Let's talk about Vipers. Vipers lose to the Roughnecks 34-27 in a shootout. Vipers lose near the end. Interception, miscommunication between quarterback and tailback. Philip Walker, of course. Well, PJ Walker, of course, went 24 for 36, 3 touchdowns in the air, 1 rushing. Cornelius, 16 for 31, 193 yards, 1 rushing, 1 passing, and an interception. Flowers, of course, 4 for 6, 51 yards, and 1 rushing TD in that game. Attendance at that game was 18,000. I know I was here promoting awareness on Alzheimer's, which is cool. And I think they sold predominantly of their tickets for that. So $8 of the $20 ticket went to the research fund for that. And here's the thing. I don't want to word this. I don't just think Trestman's a motivator. I mean, Tony Dungy was a guy that never really yelled, never really did those things. But you're not that guy, and I don't think he's the proper guy to motivate this team. I just don't think he's that guy. He's more of a coordinator, but the face as the team, as the head coach, I just don't think that's him. I'm going to give you 2 reasons why. I'm going to show you 2 videos here. One is how Trestman is, and one is how somebody should be that's coaching. Check this out.
Say after 3 weeks, right? Very difficult. We're a much better team today than we were a week ago, but we weren't good enough to win. And so I just want to leave you with this. Don't quit on yourselves. Don't give up on yourselves, because you've got what it takes in this room to get it done. And listen to this. Don't get entitled. Remember where we were 7 months ago when we were looking for an opportunity to play the game that we loved. Don't give up on yourselves. There's a good football team in there. You're going to have to decide that for ourselves. We're going to have to, right? Because we're 0-3. So I can give you all the keep it going. We got a lot to live for, and we do. But we love football in this room. Your coaches love coaching you in this room. I encourage you to be a team that sticks together, that continues to grow together. And let's just find out who the hell we are as we move into next week. It will not be easy. We'll be a better team next week. We can make it happen. You have to make it happen inside your heart. For us to get this done, you have to go to your heart right now and make sure that you're taking care of what you need to take care of, so you give this team every chance you can next week. Let's just say after 3 weeks, right?
Really? It sounds like he had a funeral. We just tuning in. It's the Blake Anthony Show live on BucsReport.com. Every Monday doing Mock Draft Monday, my favorite. As always, what's to say? Oh, I'm sorry too. I meant to put this up here as well. Shame on me. Shame on me. I meant to put this up here. It sounds like he's at a funeral. It sounds like he's talking to kids in their room. You telling grown men not to believe in themselves. I don't think they didn't believe in themselves. They came out shooting. They played to their competition, which I think was their biggest issue in the past 2 weeks. You've been playing to your competition. Then you rose your game to another level. What's going on, Latasha from Houston? So you got an interesting one today. You played up to a better team, and you played at that level. So now you can see what level you can actually play at. But sadly you couldn't finish. You got support from the hometown crew, so that wasn't an issue. So I don't really think they gave up. I don't think that's an issue. And this is the difference between Trestman talking, and this is how Trestman should be talking to people and coaching staff on this team. Check this out.
We right here. This 0-3 ain't nothing. We still got 7 more opportunities. Trust me. We're going to come back to work. All we got to do is come back to work, and everybody believe. Whatever your role is, you do your role to the best of your ability. If they bring me back down to the tools, I'm going to be the best tool I can be. I'm going to go hard on the special team. I'm with the starters. I'm going to bust my ass. It don't matter. Just do the role. We know what we had today. We was right here. We right here. It's a thin line, bro. We gonna break that line. When we do, it's gonna be up for these boys. Trust me.
There's a difference in motivator, and unmotivating and motivating. That's what you need to be telling your team. That's the stuff you need to hear to get them fired up. Not like you're at a funeral and somebody just died. I mean, your record did. It died a little bit. Went to 0-2 to 0-3. But that's it on the Vipers. Natasha, everybody's good here. We're gonna talk equal pay here pretty soon. I just want to get this stuff out the way because I know it's gonna be it's a lot to talk about with that with topic and stuff like that. So I want to get this stuff out of the way and then give you females the floor to say what you want to say, your own experiences and things like that. And we'd love to hear it. I think it's in the time spending researching on this stuff, you learn stuff that you didn't pay attention to before. And I think that's I think everybody needs to do that, is to start, looking at things that don't affect them and see how it affects other people and people around you, because you don't know. And it's interesting when I go into this topic. Actually, we're right after this one. All I wanted to say about the CBA was that is Wednesday. There's some players that are really moved by that do not want the 17 games. There's guys that do, but want better benefits on the pension and things like that, and pay. And then there's others that are cool with it. So you're kind of split between the three. I'm not 100% sure where everybody falls into that, but I'm going to play this quick video here on the topic, and then we'll go in. Allison, I know you're watching. You can go into all that. When we come up, we can talk Vipers. We can talk equal pay in sports or out of sports and things like that here in a second. So let me play this video so everybody can get caught up. The women's soccer team, I think they're starting this movement. It's going to be a big victory if they win this lawsuit for women everywhere. And I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to it. I know women are, but I'm trying to educate men. I know Peter says that too, try to educate women on football and things like that. We try to educate some men on what's actually going on and what the pay scale difference is between men and women, because some of these women are your wives. Some of these women are your girlfriends. Some of these people are your mother. Some of these women are your sisters. So, and like, you don't care. I'm not going to say you don't care. You kind of don't care because it doesn't affect you. That's what I mean. I don't mean it. You don't care in a bad way. You don't care because it doesn't affect you personally. And that's the problem with a lot of people. We don't pay attention to things because it doesn't affect us. But let me get into it.
Currently, when athletes play in World Cup games, qualifiers, and non-competitive friendly matches, they're paid a base annual salary with potential bonuses for winning. According to the complaint, that breaks down to between $3,600 and about $5,000 for women per game. For men, it ranges from just over $6,000 to as much as $17,000. And if they make the World Cup roster, female players receive 44% of what their male counterparts earn. That's despite drawing crowds of similar size and racking up unprecedented achievements, like their third World Cup trophy last summer. And back-to-back Olympic gold medals, giving the team that made us all believe a chance to make history again. And four of those players behind the push for equal pay are with us now. Hope Solo, Becky Sauerbrunn, Carly Lloyd, and Alex Morgan. They're joined by their attorney, Jeffrey Kessler. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Carly, you don't just wake up one morning and say we're going to file a complaint with the EEOC and point a finger at U.S. soccer. This has been simmering for a while, but why does it come to a head now?
I think the timing is right. I think that we've proven our worth over the years. Just coming off of a World Cup win, and the pay disparity between the men and women is just too large, and we want to continue to fight. The generation of players before us fought, and now it's our job to keep on fighting.
Ladies, you complained to the U.S. Soccer Federation in the past. What's their response been when you talk about these equal pay issues?
You know, Matt, I've been on this team now for a decade and a half, and I've been through numerous CBA negotiations, and honestly, not much has changed. We continue to be told we should be grateful just to have the opportunity to play professional soccer and to get paid for doing it. And in this day and age, it's about equality, it's about equal rights, it's about equal pay, and we're pushing for that. And We believe now is the time is right because we believe it's a responsibility for women's sports and
Right.
specifically for women's soccer to really do whatever it takes to push for equal pay and equal rights.
I want to mention
and to be treated with respect.
I'm sorry, I want to mention the complaint was just mailed yesterday. The U.S. Soccer Federation hasn't had a lot of time to digest it, but they did give us this statement. While we've not seen this complaint and can't comment on the specifics of it, we're disappointed about this action. We've been a world leader in women's soccer and are proud of the commitment we've made to building the women's game in the United States over the past 30 years. Who wants to respond to that?
You know, Matt, we're sorry they're disappointed. These women are very disappointed in U.S. soccer. When they asked for the same treatment as the men, they were told it was irrational. Now, that might be a good answer in 1816. It's not an acceptable answer in 2016.
What about revenues here? I mean, you know, are revenues equal? Because I would imagine an argument could be made if the revenues aren't equal, then the pay's not equal. Where does that stand?
Actually, last year, U.S. Soccer, according to its numbers, made over $16 million from this team. The men's team caused a $2 million loss. The numbers are very obviously in favor of the women.
Ladies, what are your options here? If the U.S. Soccer Federation says, sorry, we can't do this at this time, are you willing and prepared to boycott games? Will you strike? What will you do?
Well, I think that's why we're here taking this action and filing this complaint, is that we have sacrificed so much. Every single day we sacrifice just as much as the men. We work just as much. We endure just as much physically and emotionally. And our fans really do appreciate us every day for that. We saw that with the high of last summer. And we're really asking and demanding now that now our federation and our employer really step up and appreciate us as well. So
by the way,
we need to.
Ladies, let me just interrupt. Have you heard from any of the male players?
Well, I'm sure they are in support of us. My husband plays professional soccer, and he's very much in support of me. But I would have to believe that the men's national team would as well be in support of us. While
I've got you all there, can I just change subjects one quick second? We've talked so much on this show, and others have, about the Zika virus, and a lot of specifically female athletes worried about heading to Rio for the games. Hope, have you been given the kind of information?
Just tuning in, this is Blake Anthony Show live on BucsReport.com, giving you all the flavors here. Talking women's equal pay, women's sport and sports world, women in the real world. Allison, you can call in now if you want. All the other females, I really want to get Allison on first, and then we'll go from there because she can talk two topics here. Allison Kohler, media member for the Tampa Bay Vipers, women working in sports. It's interesting. Listen to this perspective and some of these numbers. Pay wages. Let's listen to these numbers. Pay wages from the Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2013. Female full-time workers had median earnings weekly 706 to 860. Let's see if I can get this. Hold on a second. Caller, you're live.
Hey, Blake.
Hey, Allison. How are you doing?
Good. About yourself?
Great. Now that you're here.
Woohoo!
So what you want to start with? You want to start with Vipers?
Yeah, I can only make like a comment about women's pay. I'm not all that knowledgeable on it. So, but yeah, we can talk Vipers.
Go ahead. What's your take on the loss? The Vipers took the home supportive heartbreaking loss that they took to the Houston Roughnecks.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it was definitely a heartbreaker. I know, all the fans came out in full force and were representing with their T-shirts and being all painted up and their little snake gestures with their hands. They were really getting into it, and that was really awesome to see. And I think it really made an impact in terms of the players, and kind of kept them pumped up throughout the game. So that was super cool to see.
It was. It really felt like it was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer home game in a way. The way the fans supported it, they were ready to dress up, in Viper gear. You get to dress up as pirates all year long here in this Bay Area.
Right.
So now you get to dress up in lime green, bright colors and snakes and stuff. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of like Halloween and Halloween in February, if you will. But it was a great showing, and 18,000 was third best in the league for home opener, and they get another home opening, not home opening, but another home game next week. So hopefully it'll be the same showing. So XFL has been competitive, in my opinion. I mean, it's a way ages better than what it was the first time. Obviously, Vince McMahon and his team did a great job adjusting from then to now. I really think year 2 of XFL is going to be even better because this is good for just piecing people together, 7 months ago, and then getting this today. Mm-hmm. I mean, what is your opinion about that?
Yeah, I definitely think, I don't know for certain, but I would think that there's maybe some fans that are kind of waiting to see how it plays out. I know that there were a lot of people that were excited about the Alliance of American Football and, past leagues that, are now defunct. Maybe they felt a little bit burned, for putting all their heart and soul into teams that, ended up, maybe not playing a full season or playing for a very short period of time. So maybe they're just kind of stepping back and saying, hey, let's see how this goes, and then I'll throw my support into it. So, maybe that's the case. But yeah, I agree with you that year 2, I think they'll make a significant leap in terms of even attendance how it is now. Like you said, attendance has been great, viewership has been great, but I think it can only get better from here.
Yep, and I know a lot of people are calling it winter college football and things like that. In NFL, beginning at weeks 2, like weeks 1 and 2, some teams play really bad. They just don't mesh at first. In XFL, some teams fired off on all cylinders, and some teams kind of sputtered their way and moving up. You got to see DC fire off weeks 1 and week 2, and look what happened to them. Got blown out by 30 points yesterday.
Right.
Everybody was so high on Cardale Jones. It looks like pretty much football to me because that's the way that happens week to week. You don't know what can happen, especially with injuries and things like that. But it's great, that you get to be down there front row and center doing media on it, doing your articles and stuff like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and
I think what casual fans may not realize is they didn't have, the XFL leagues this season. I don't know if it's going to change going forward. There was no preseason. They played scrimmages, but the NFL does that as well. No preseason. So technically, this was just week 3 of preseason. You know what I mean? So although the Vipers are the worst team in the league, and the Roughnecks have shown that they don't need quote unquote preseason, to shake the rust off. But I think people need to. A lot of people are down on the Vipers. Although they're trying to stick it through. A lot of people are down on them, and it's like, there's teams like the Vipers and like the Dragons and like the Guardians that, just haven't had the luck, that maybe the Roughnecks have and the Defenders have had, in terms of getting things going early. So, hopefully next week, the Vipers can, build on that momentum. Even though they lost, they improved dramatically, on offense, and I think a big part of that was that Mark Trestman relinquished play calling duties, and offensive coordinator Jamie Elizondo, took over that post. So I think that made a big difference in terms of the play calling and their effectiveness, on their drives.
I agree. You definitely saw a drastic change from the way the offense moved from week 1 and 2 to week 3. So I was saying, on Peter's show too, hopefully they can keep building on that instead of taking a step backwards, because whatever you made the changes on offense, you need to keep it going and tweak that a little bit. Only part in that game I did not like, and it just brought me back to the Seattle versus New England game. You're on the 2-yard line. You want to line up. You run 3 plays at a shotgun. Just hand the damn ball off and get the ball in the end zone and stop trying to get cute. But otherwise than that, they found ways to move the ball on offense. It worked. Defense had to play a really good offense and, held their own when they needed to. But like I said, unfortunately, Roughnecks came across with the win because you could see that this coaching staff and prepared this team well for 3 straight weeks.
Right, right. And I think, it's obviously going to be really awesome, to have a second consecutive home game. And I think obviously the Defenders, despite losing to the Wildcats yesterday, have shown that they're not going to take things lying down. And I think they're going to come into Tampa Bay and they're going to be playing ticked off. They're going to be upset. They lost to one of the worst teams in the league significantly. I mean, this wasn't just a touchdown or a field goal difference. You know what I mean? I mean, the score was super lopsided. So I think they're going to come into Tampa Bay and be playing angry. So I hope the Vipers are prepared for that.
Yeah, DC's definitely going to be coming in here trying to get a win off of an 0-3 team. You don't ever want to be that team that gave a defeated team their first win. And if you're just tuning in,
Exactly.
this is Allison Collier, media member for the Tampa Bay Vipers, close friend of mine, truly. Here, and where can they find your stuff at, Allison? You got a new article coming out?
Yeah. So I cover the Tampa Bay Vipers beat for XFL.com, so they can find my work at XFL.com. I also post my articles on Facebook at writer Allison Kohler, and Twitter is at Allison Kohler, and it's ALLISONKOEHLER. And everybody's like, oh, I gotta find a pen to write that down.
You definitely did. You better get it right.
Right? Yeah, you do.
And let me tell you, everybody, this girl here, man, she's a go-getter. She doesn't wait around for things. She goes out there and gets it, and that's why I kind of took this topic. I know you said you're not really knowledgeable on this whole women equal pay thing, and that's fine. You don't have to be like, people get scared, like, I don't know too much about it. That's not my job. Let me do the homework, and so we could talk about it. That's what I did, and it was mind blowing to me, because you got women like you, and I know plenty of other women that I've known that are out there and they go get it, and I never really thought about the pay scale difference between men and women, because it doesn't affect me personally, and like I said earlier, it's not because we don't care, it's just we don't think about it. So to break it down in the easiest way, for every dollar a man earns, a woman makes 79 cents. And that's median pay, and then controlled gender pay, it's 98 cents to $1. So either way, they're making significantly less money, and that's in 2019. The gap is a huge difference, and I just never paid that any attention to all that. So I guess my question to me, like, I think what the women's soccer team is doing, I don't know if you saw the video and the numbers they put up, that women have been profiting and winning, and the men took a loss. I think they said $2 million loss over it. Do you think there should be some type of adjustment? Should it be because of ratings? Should it be because, and I'm not even just talking about sports, I'm talking about in everything, like you work in media. Do you think women should get paid because their what's the word, a resume, or their body of work, or should it be, or should gender even be counted into this at all? How do you feel about that?
Right, yeah, I definitely don't think that gender should be taken into account, in terms of pay scale. And I think anything men can do, to the majority, anything men can do, women can do just as well, sometimes better, depending on what the career is there. But it is crazy that in 2019, coming into 2020, that that there isn't more equal pay. But I think if you take a look historically, I would imagine that it's changed significantly. So I think women are making strides in terms of getting there, but we're just not there yet.
Yeah, and I see people commenting here. Misador's got a point, and I get that. I think even women will agree with that. You can jump in and comment on that. He says you can't pay him like $100 million thing like that, because the revenue's not there. I guess I get that part, but maybe you don't have to pay, like, as far as league salary. What about opportunities and sponsorships with Nike and things like that for certain players, for people, so women can make somewhat of that kind of revenue back that they're not getting, from the league and things like that. I don't know, what do you think about that, Allison?
Yeah. I mean, revenue. Yeah. I mean, definitely. There's different situations, and revenue. I think Misador makes a very good point, like you said. Revenue should play a factor in it, because if you're not making the money, difficult to
Pay
the
that.
wages.
Right.
You know, that's plain and simple. You know, so I definitely agree with that point.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see how this turns out. In the video, they said a lot of things. They said the league, and the part that really bugs me, like I said, I'm thinking it like this. I'm thinking outside the box. I got friends like you. I've got a mother. I've got you got wives, you got girlfriends, you got things like that these people work out here, and it just doesn't, because it doesn't affect you. It affects people that you know's lives and that are females.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they should just be grateful to the fact that they play in there. That's what the league feels, and they feels like they're kind of being yeah, exactly. You chuckle. That they should be grateful that they're playing in this league and shouldn't be asking for more money. They're like, well, you're making all of this money off of their labor, and they're putting in the work. You winning back titles, and you're getting a small bonus of it. But if it was the men, they would be getting praised as kings. And in reality, it's backwards. That's it. They're losing money, and they're losing on the field. And then
I mean, if anything,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I mean, if anything, especially in terms of women's soccer, I mean, soccer has definitely had an uptick, you know, in the United States in terms of popularity. But I think, you know, women's soccer, you know, if anything, it's bringing awareness to soccer in general. You know what I mean? I mean, it's possible that people who see women's soccer are like, hey, man, soccer's cool, man. I want to watch men's soccer. You know what I mean? So it's possible that, you know, they're even making men's soccer more popular. And, you know, I'm not a guy, but I would imagine that guys are like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I'll watch a chick run around on the field and kick some balls and take her shirt off if she wins.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's, you know, it's really exciting, and it's like I said, it's made huge strides, and I think it's only going to go up from here, and hopefully not backwards.
Lisa Doris makes a point. He says, "Would you buy a Cheryl Miller Air Force Ones or Jordans?" We don't know, because they've never tried it, and it's not about what I would buy. You know, there's women out here too that might buy shoes. There's millions and billions of women that'll buy shoes. We don't know. We never tried it. I can't definitively answer that, Misador, because it's never happened. And you don't think male players, they're dating these athletes too? You saw the young lady up there said she's married to a soccer player. You don't think that they'll try to push women's shoes and things like that to other female athletes and things like? You don't think that would happen? It's happening now. We just don't really talk about it. It's happening now, but I can't answer that because it hasn't been done.
I would buy a pair of Allison Kohler shoes. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, I bet you would.
But yeah, I mean, it definitely, you know, you said earlier, you know, some guys may not, you know, care as much about women's pay because it doesn't affect them and things along those lines. But, you know, like you said, your mom, your sister, your daughter, you know, your wife, you know, if they're in your family, you should definitely be caring about that, because most families, they share the wealth, you know. So it's like, hey, if my wife is making just as much as me or more than me, that's money in the bag, literally.
And I don't know if men still think like that too. Like, the male feels like they have to be the breadwinner, they have to be the head of the household, or I don't know if it's still like that. I speak for me personally.
I imagine some households it probably is, but yeah, it's definitely not that way as much as it was in the 50s and 60s.
Right, and it like some men would used to think that if their wife or significant other made more money than them, it was embarrassment and it was kind of disrespectful that your wife made more money than you. Regardless of the fact that she was more educated than you, that has nothing to do with, that's neither one of y'all's fault. That she has a higher intellect than you, and she was able to get another job. I mean, it just happens like that, or opportunities happen, or things like that. But you know, I'm sure it's not like that as much as it was maybe 40, 50 years ago, where men felt like they had to be the macho man of the house. And I think in today's time, it's more acceptable than anything that if women make, a significant amount of money, especially if they put in the groundwork for it. Absolutely. I've always been an advocate for women that got the education, got the background or whatever. Why should they be second guess to a male? And just because he's a man? I mean, if you're good for the job, you're good for the job, regardless, the gender or whatever it is, depending on what it is. Obviously, women playing, something like football, body structure and things like that happen because you don't want her to get significantly injured out there playing with men and things like that. But I thought it was cool though when they came out with the women's league like that, even though it was kind of sexually explicit. But I thought it was cool, that the women were out there and they were actually putting in work out there.
Great, yeah, most definitely, I agree. Very, very well said.
Yeah, but Allison, I ain't gonna take up too much of your time. Appreciate you being here. And this is Allison Collier, media member of Tampa Bay Vipers. She's always on Peter's show. I'm trying to get her more on here too. I just wanted to get her take, on Vipers and the women issue I'm talking about here, because I think this is an issue that's not going to go away. It's going to make a change if these women get approved for this. For this, it's going to make some changes, and then I guess people will pay attention then. But I talked about it, so I talked about it.
Yeah, you did it, Blake. You did it.
Yeah, I talked about it. Man. All right, Allison.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Always.
All right.
Yep. There you go. There you have it. Phone lines open. I know, Rachel, you wanted to call in, 727-475-1882. You play football. You're a female. By all means, call in and put your 2 cents in. I'm gonna go here to the I want to say webheads. It's Peter. The chat room. Oh God, Will, man, I will buy some Blake Anthony shoes. Oh my goodness, quiet, Will. Because how many of y'all think we need to redesign the Vipers logo with scales and a Viper head coming out with the V? It's possible, Chris. They could change it. Everything's brand new. I'm sure they're open to new ideas and tweak things a little bit. But like she said, she was there. Fan interaction was awesome. 18,000, third best. People want to see football. I think Vincent Mann hit the home run on this one. Just got to keep it going. I think year 2 is going to be really, really good going into year two. Now you just got to do your first, official after season, off season, and things like that. So I think it's going to be cool. Misador, yeah, we talked about that. Charles Willis Richardson, welcome to the show. We're not just talking about women equal pay too. I just try. I was watching Peter's show the other day. And I started thinking about it. He makes a comment, try to teach women, football. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do that, too. They have a Women in Red thing. Get them involved with football and stuff like that. What about, I just thought it would be cool that we try to do the same thing for them. Try to learn more about, the pay scale as far as sports go. And as far as, everyday life that you and I and everybody else interact with females in the workforce. I thought it was cool, man. If you know me, I'm always doing charity stuff and things like that. I'm not calling the women's pay thing like a charity thing. I always try to help get root for the underdog is the thing I'm trying to say, where I see something that's an injustice and something that should be looked into and not overshadowed. I tend to like to get involved in it, and I thought this was one of them. And I think this is going to come up later, and it should make some changes when this all comes to a head with the women's soccer team issue. I'm still taking. I should have showed this to Allison. Well, she's still on here. She can see it. And these are things that the women have to do. Oh, here we go. Call, you're live. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Blake?
What's going on, Frankie?
Hey, man. Man, I want to touch on everything that you're talking about today, man.
All right, go ahead. Dilly-dally and all of it.
All right, man. So, as far as, like, the women pay thing, me and my fiance, we were talking about this. Like, and this is just with, like, acting. Just
okay.
Like acting. Actors make more than actresses.
Okay. I believe it by the numbers I just looked at. I believe it.
That's kind of insane.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just talking with my neighbor because, like, I was watching your show, and he was like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, it's one of the Buccaneers podcasts I listen to. And right now they're talking about the women's equal rights thing on pay. And he goes, well, didn't you know that with FIFA, that the women's league and the men's league are like, they're two different companies. And the women's league has less money than the men's league, and that's why the women aren't getting paid more. And I was like, I did not know that.
Well,
and he shared that, and him and I were talking about that, and that's what he told me. I was like, well, damn. And then I want to say it was, I can't remember, somebody said something in the room. I want to say it was me, Fedora, that was talking about the WNBA. I know the WNBA is not owned by the NBA.
Right.
But if the WNBA paid their players just as much as the NBA players, they'd be bankrupt. They wouldn't have a league anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It all has to do with the money that's coming in the league. If there's no money coming in the league, you can't pay them the equal amount of money that the male counterpart is.
And I think the women understand that.
And case in point, like I hate to, and I know he's watching and he's going to roll his eyes when I bring this up. And everybody knows me that watches Bucs Report knows, and he knows I'm going to bring it up. But case in point with the WWE, Becky Lynch is one of the top paid wrestlers, and she's a female, and she's getting paid more than some of the guys.
Do you think that's right?
But she is one of the top. Well, yeah, she busts her butt.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
She busts her butt, and she's on all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're one of the people that's on all the time, and you're not taking days off, and you're the champ, because she's the Raw Women's Champ right now, and she has been the champ since WrestleMania last year, and she's going to be the champ going into WrestleMania this year. That's 365 days. I think that makes you should be one of the top paid individuals, whether you're male or female. You know what I mean?
And that's cool.
And her merchandise sales are even through the roof. So go figure.
And do you think
know what I mean?
Do you think a lot of those merchandise sales are female? Or do you think it's both? Genders?
It's both.
Okay.
Because I have Becky Lynch merch. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I love Becky Lynch. You know what I mean?
And that's cool that that wrestling was open to that, and they allow her to be one of the highest paid members, and because she put in the legwork. That's awesome. That her footwork got her paid more, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, she gets paid. I think she's like I want to say she's in the top 10 paid wrestlers in the WWE.
That's
I could be
awesome.
wrong.
That's awesome.
It might be in the top 15, but I know she's up there. But going on, I sent you a message earlier, and I don't know if you saw it or not.
Go ahead, bring it up.
I had did a mock draft earlier today because I was like, well, it's mock draft Monday.
Sure is.
So I'm gonna do a mock draft. So I did a mock draft.
Okay.
And I was shocked. I was shocked at what happened in the mock draft I did. I'm gonna go through the top 10.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna do the Buccaneer picks that I had. So the top 10, you are gonna be surprised at what they said the Bengals were gonna take. It had Chase Young going number 1 to the Bengals.
It's possible.
And I'm gonna mess up the guy's last name. So Jeffrey Okota.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say it right?
You talking about the corner?
He's going to the Redskins. Yep, the corner is going to the Skins. Isaiah Simmons going to the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jeudy is going to the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Jedrick Wills is the first tackle taken,
mm-hmm.
and he's going to the Dolphins.
They need a lineman.
Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow is going to the Chargers. Tua goes to the Panthers. Derek Brown goes to the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Kinlaw goes to the Jaguars, and Becton goes to the Browns.
Huh.
That's the top 10 that I had when I did my mock draft.
And it's a strong possibility that could happen. I'm sure some type of trades and stuff will happen like that. It's a possibility. You really don't know.
Now when I sat down and I did my Buccaneer picks,
mm-hmm.
okay, I was like, well, at pick 14, he's still here. And one of our big concerns is tackle. So I took Andrew Thomas.
Okay.
I felt like, dude, if he's still here and we need a tackle, and ironically, I still had Tristan Wirfs on the board too.
He's felt.
But I felt Thomas. I felt Thomas was more complete to start day one than Wirfs.
Right.
And going into round 2, I was shocked to see who was on the board. And honestly, I was like, well, I think this is an issue that we may address in free agency. But I took him because he was on the board, and felt maybe we won't address this need in free agency if he's on the board. And I took Jonathan Taylor.
I already know it.
He was on the board in round 2.
Yeah, he's fallen.
And then,
he's fallen in a couple mock drafts. It's possible. A lot of backs been going high in the second round.
Yep. And then I took in round 3. I took Darrell Taylor, edge rusher. And then this was a guy that you, me, and Johnny Dean talked about. Offensive guard from Wisconsin. Tyler, don't even ask me to say his last name. It's like Bedaz or something. Bedazzle. Now this is a guy that these next 2 guys are guys that I'm hoping we can actually get in the late rounds, because I'm pretty high on these guys.
Okay.
And in round 6, I took McTevlin, Agam. He's an interior defensive lineman. And in round 6, I took Jonathan Garvin, an edge rusher. So pretty much, I stuck to the trenches.
Right.
Which is what we need to do in this draft. I did not really address anything else other than saying, holy shit. Excuse me, pardon my language.
It's all right.
Oh my God, Jonathan Taylor is still there in the second round. He could potentially be a number 1 back, with Rojo being our scat back at number 2. I think that could be a possibility. So I had to take it.
Yeah, it's
call me crazy for reaching out and doing it, but that's what I did.
It's not crazy. It all depends. It's going to really depend on what free agency, where they want to fill out. Like Damian Harrison got released from the Lions as easily a low price player that you can plug into the system to play in the middle of that defense, and you can either go to edge or focus on offensive line if you want to get him. It all really depends. With free agent, that's gonna tell the story if they pick up another.
Like me personally, when it comes to the running back issue, I know we've talked about it. I've talked about it at length with Peter. I've talked about it at length with Johnny Dean. I'm really high on Jordan Howard because I like those kind of running backs. Those like Mike Allstott, big guys that just pound a hole. You know what I mean? I like those kind of guys, them big power back guys. You know, I've always liked those, like Ron Dane. You know, I don't know if many guys are going to remember Ron Dane.
Wisconsin.
Running back from Wisconsin.
Heisman Trophy winner.
Maybe 3 good years in the NFL. But I like those kind of guys. I like those big, broody guys that just, make a hole.
And you'll love A.J. Dillon then out of Boston College.
Oh, I like him, but I'm not as high on him as I am Taylor from Wisconsin.
Oh, of course, of course. They're 2 different sizes. Dillon's 245 and Taylor's 219. So I mean, I get where you mean on that. But if you're talking about a bruiser, that's A.J. Dillon all day long. I mean,
yeah. Like me personally, I like I said, I want Howard, but can we get Howard for a reasonable amount of money? My theory on it was, well, he did a lot of good with the Bears. He got traded to the Eagles. He didn't do squat. He's a free agent. Maybe we can get him for cheap because he didn't do anything.
It's possible.
So maybe this might be a 1-year deal where it's like, okay, prove yourself. Prove yourself again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's all about what they feel their agent feels they should deserve to get paid and things like that. It's gonna be interesting, man. These next couple of weeks, all we can do is keep playing on the draft board, and then we got the draft coming up. What in a couple of days? I mean, not the draft, combine coming up. So mock drafts are gonna change. Yep, it's gonna change again, depending on how some of these guys do. I don't know if you can see. See. Before I always get sidetracked, boy. I have bad do that. It was one thing I was talking about the women's thing. I wanted to post. It was a post I saw on the internet that bothered the hell out of me, and kind of wanted me to do this today and talk about. When I know everybody's like, what Blake's talking about, women's equal pay and things like that, because don't nobody deserve to be treated like this, and it bugged the hell out of me. Like I said, I think about people I know, people I love. And I took out who posted this, but I wanted to show this. I know you're going to get a delay. And this was during the season that somebody actually posted this, that they had both female coaches for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they put the reason, and then the quote was, the reason we are 7-7. And you put the two female coaches, the strength coach and the defensive line coach, Lori Locust, up there. I always forget the other strength coach's name, but you put these women out there and you try to say that they're the reason why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 7-7. I don't know if the person thought it would be funny or whatever the reason is, but it bugged the hell out of me when I saw that. That's just it.
You know what really irks me? What really irks me when it comes to this?
Go ahead.
If I remember correctly, Bruce Arians was one of the first coaches that said, we're going to bring female coaching into the Tampa Bay organization. He was one of the first people that said he was going to do that, if I remember correctly.
Yep, he said that he was going to do that.
He was interviewing female coaches. And then, when the playoffs started happening, they did a commercial, and it was a female coach for the 49ers. And I was like, and she goes, I'm so proud to be the first female coach in the NFL. I'm like, wait a minute. Wasn't Bruce Arians the one that started that crap? Like, I think
in Arizona.
Did Tampa Bay get some love for this?
I think he had one in Arizona as well. Bruce had one in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure what her position was at that time. I think he had one in Arizona. I'm not sure. It might have been her, and she might have went over to San Francisco as well. It might have been her. But you can see that these females are getting into the coaching, and Johnny Dean made it. Of course, Johnny Dean, the professor, always going to put something. Somebody said the reason we're 7-7. Did you know that strength and defensive line were the strengths of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2019? And you're going to say the reason they're 7-7 is because of them? Whatever.
Come on now, dude. Our defensive line was nuts.
Yep. That's
our front seven on our defense was insane. The reason we were 7-7 was our piss poor offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just call a spade a spade.
Exactly. You know? I wish they were coaching offensive line.
If the women were coaching the offensive line, then make a post like that. But they're coaching defense, and our defense is what's the only thing. Like, not saying it's the only thing, but it's one of the good things we can brag about. Our defense was freaking awesome.
Yep, especially.
I'm sorry, I was bragging about our defense.
Yep, and they were a part of it, but
secondary came around towards the end.
Right,
of the year.
when we made roster moves, and that was a coaching decision. And they made roster moves in the secondary.
Yeah, as soon as we said sorry, VH3, you're a cancer. Get the hell off this team.
You even saw Shaq.
You saw what it did to Houston.
Yeah, you even saw Shaq Barrett said that he was like, I don't want to. I think he was talking to Steve Smith. He's like, I don't want to, say people's names. He's like, I'll say it, Vernon Hardgraves. He was like, he's like, I didn't realize he was hurting us that bad. Even Shaq Barrett was surprised. He's like, I didn't realize he was hurting us like that. And when they cut Vern and they got him off, and the secondary just went through the roof.
Oh man, dude. I'm saying it now. I will call it now on the Buck and Blake show right now.
Yeah.
Y'all can call me out on it later on. You can call me out on my show when it starts. I don't care.
You know Johnny Dean will.
Next year, Johnny Dean will. I know he will. He'll call me out on Peter's show. He'll call me out on it all the time. He'll message me on Facebook and be like, you're... He'll call me on my cell phone and be like, you're stupid. Anyway, I'm telling it now. Dean and Edwards. Or Dean, I'm telling you, Dean and Davis, and possibly Edwards, are making Pro Bowl. I'll call it now.
I would be jumping all over that, and excuse me for not being enthusiastic about the Pro Bowl. I really stopped talking and bragging about people making Pro Bowls the year Clay Matthews made the Pro Bowl and didn't play an entire season. When that happened, I stopped really caring about Pro Bowl invites and things like that, because at that point, you got players that, like Levante David, don't make playoffs because a player got voted into the Pro Bowl and didn't play a down the entire season. So that tells me right there that it doesn't matter if
it's a popularity contest.
And that's why I say, excuse me, that I'm not excited about that. That's cool. I'll say that they're going to play great next season. That's what I'll say. But as far as
definitely,
yeah, as far as Pro Bowl, I don't get excited in it for that reason. That players that they're deserving to be in the Pro Bowl sit at home for guys who didn't play a down.
Well, look at it like this. And this is jumping to a different sport, but I was sitting here after the World Series win, when the Cubs won the World Series, the entire infield in the All-Star game, I'm dead serious, the entire infield in the All-Star game, first, second, short, third, and catcher, were all Cubs starting in the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a popularity contest.
Yep. And
That's all an All-Star / Pro Bowl is. It's a popularity contest.
Yep. It's voted by the fans.
You know how many Pro Bowl votes I did? And on every single one, I at least 40 or 50 Pro Bowl votes I did.
So you're saying
I voted for Levante Davis every single time.
So you're saying you're rigging the election, huh? You said you're doing the Pro Bowl gate. Is that what you're doing? The ballot, like Florida ballots. That's what you're doing over there.
I think we have to get Levante Davis in the Pro Bowl. Crap, man. I mean, come on.
And still don't get in.
Man,
don't get in.
Man, the heart and soul of this defense. I'm about ready to have a Peter Blake moment here. Jeez.
Yep, that's why.
I'm gonna go on a rant.
And that's why I don't get excited about it, for that reason right there. I knew it didn't matter how well somebody played it. It didn't matter if you weren't a fan favorite or if you were on a losing team. You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it, regardless of how good you played or not.
And I'm going to tell you right now, this is what I'm predicting for the free agency. Winston's going to get signed. Shaq is going to get signed. JPP is going to get signed. Nassib will get signed.
I agree, Chris. All pro. Christopher.
Minter will get signed. The only one I don't think will get signed is Sue.
I think he's done.
I don't think will get signed.
I think he's done. I think he's figuring out if he wants to play again or not. So he's out vacationing with his new wife and things like that, and stuff like that.
What, is he on his fourth marriage now?
I don't get up into his business. It has nothing to do with me or football. I don't care if he has 2 wives and a girlfriend. That's on him. So good. But I appreciate you calling, Frankie. Let me get Johnny Dean on here. He needs to get recapped.
Man.
Yep.
He's going to sit there and yell at me for my WWE comment, but hey, it had to go with the topic, man.
Yep.
Just saying. All right, man. Take care, man.
You too. Frankie always giving 110%. Let me put this up here again. This crap bothers me. It bothers me. It bothers me. The strengths on the team were because of these 2 women, but yet you make a post like that during season. Bothers me. It all that screams is you're sexist. You're sexist. and you just wanted to put that and you thought it was funny. Call you live. Go ahead.
Okay, what's up, buddy? I haven't heard your recap. I guess you was talking to Allison earlier.
Okay.
I guess that means you were talking some Viper football?
Yep, we sure did. We talked about, of course, Allison. We talked about the how people make comments and things about that being 0-3, and then they try to say that has to do with the way the league was, and I don't think that's entirely true of any of it. These guys only got together 7 months ago. You had no real off season, and for the most part, a lot of these teams been competitive. And the teams that are really good is because you have a really good coaching staff that convey communication well from coach to players, and then they're communicating well on the field. That's why you get these teams, Houston Roughnecks playing the way that they're playing, and you got teams like the Tampa Bay Vipers, which just made recent moves in the coaching staff, which their offense went from non-existent to explosive, and that's just on a communication basis and making quite changes. My thing was, I think year 2 will be it'll take a huge step, elevated from year 1 to year 2, and it's been competitive for being such a short length time that the XFL got together, in my opinion.
Well, let's hope that they last that long.
Yeah.
Me and Keith Larson were going over this today, and the numbers show an improvement in attendance each week, but there's also a steady decline in the home crowds of the bigger attendees. Like Los Angeles, they dropped a few thousand numbers in their second game at home. Who was the first one? Shoot.
For some reason, LA,
Seattle definitely dropped. They went from 29,000 in their stadium the first game they played, a home game, and they dropped almost 4,000 or 5,000 people the second game. They dropped down into they dropped down to 19. So that was a big differential. If that trend continues, then we're going to see a drop off by the end of the season in attendance, and that's a shame because I think they do put out a decent product on the field. Mm-hmm. Of course, you only got two really outstanding quarterbacks in Josh Johnson and
P.J. Walker.
Walker, thank you. Mm-hmm. And then you got some good XFL quarterbacks in the background there. I love the fact that Trestman handed off the reins to the OC, man. Mm-hmm. There was a marked improvement in the offense, and people in Tampa, I know, are crying and whining because they lost the game. But they lost the game to the number 1 team in the league, and they were competitive. A lot more than DC was last night.
Ooh. That's bad quarterback play right there. All on Cardell Jones. That is all on him. Quadruple coverage.
And I expected better than the Cardinals. Well, I don't think it was all on him. But Winston Moss brought a game plan to the table. Mm-hmm. And I might be a homer because it's Winston Moss, but I really like Winston Moss. I like the way he's coaching. We thought L.A. was a dumpster fire after the first week with the D.C. firing and everything else. And in the second week, they lost their second game, but you could see marked improvement, similar to the Vipers last week. In the third game, they went in and dominated. I kind of see the Vipers could be making that kind of a move, too. I like the parity in the league. From one week to the next, there's only one undefeated team in the league right now.
And the Vipers just played them, and they squeaked out alive.
Yep.
That Philip P.J. Walker, man, he's just building his resume, and he's building it week to week. Every time you don't think he could do something, he does something else. Recovered that botched snap, managed to get outside of containment and runs it in for a touchdown. Just way to ad-lib, and some of them throws are just on the money. It's just whoa.
P.J. Walker though is 5'8", man. He's not going to be an NFL starter. He might be like a practice guy, like the guy that we brought in to simulate. Who was it? What game was that? Shit, the Buccaneers. They brought in that guy, and now he's actually got a starting role in the team. He's kind of like the Taysom Hill for the Bucs.
Right.
I can't remember his damn name, man. Anyhow, that's kind of where I see P.J. Walker fitting in the NFL. But the XFL aren't pushing their players to the NFL. They don't want that. They want to have an individual status. They want their league to be their league. So there's not, if you're expecting to see it be like the AAF, where the AAF was trying to develop players for the NFL, that's not happening.
Yeah, it's tough to say. Like I said, we'll see. I know they want to build their own brand. You want to keep your homers. You want to keep your guys, and then try to keep the league competitive. Because I mean, you're right. Because if you push guys to the next level, then you don't have any when you come to your next season, and the quality of play will drop down. But P.J. Walker has definitely been an exciting player. That'd be interesting to see what he can do at a bigger shot. I mean, he's mastered this level.
Well, Oliver Luck's already made the statement. He's already blocked NFL from taking their draftees and stuff because NFL was coming in and looking at some of their players, and then Oliver Luck said, "No, we're not going to do it like that. These are our guys. You take your guys." Actually, the XFL is looking to draft players that aren't eligible yet for the NFL. They're trying to go for a younger, I guess sophomores can be drafted, so I guess it would be, juniors can be drafted, so it would be sophomores, I guess they're looking at now, or even high school players.
Interesting. It's going to be interesting to see it like from year 1 to year 2 with the XFL. We'll see how this season ends with the championship and things like that. And then their off-season draft process and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on here, especially with undrafted players from the NFL or guys who didn't get invited to camps. I'm interested to see how this is all going to work with the XFL having a full off-season coming off of a season ending. If it makes it that long, as you said, if numbers are there, as revenue sharing is there and all that stuff. There's a lot of what ifs. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just happy to have football around, and I'm grateful anytime it's around. I don't take any games for granted.
100%. I really am pulling for them to succeed. Well, I got a page just for the XFL, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sold that they're going to succeed yet. As long as Vince McMahon stays his butt out of there and lets Oliver Luck run the football part of it, then I think they got a pretty good chance. Let Vince McMahon do his shopping around and getting investors and putting money in and do all the stuff he needs to do from the financial standpoint, but stay away from the football.
Yep.
And all right, the next thing I was wanting to talk to you about was you brought up said something about the Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl is only good for the first team All-Pro. Those guys the Hall of Fame takes those All-Pros into account when putting a player into the Hall of Fame. If you eliminate the Pro Bowl, then you're eliminating one of the standards by which the Hall of Fame uses to put players in, which we can go back to Levante David for. That's where the big injustice, in my opinion, goes to those who are just getting in there on popularity. Levante David has been forefront in the league since he's stepped on the field, and he keeps getting screwed over, and it's more than just a popularity contest when it comes to that, because of he'll go up there and he'll have no Pro Bowl experience, and the Hall of Fame, when they decide to vote for him, is going to completely ignore him because he has no Pro Bowls. That's the real injustice. That's where it's really screwing everything up.
Yep. I mean, I didn't say get rid of the Pro Bowl. I was telling them I don't get excited because of that injustice that happened and because of the way the position has changed. You went from a conventional 4-3 defensive schemes for many years, then you went to this 3-4 where your outside linebackers are technically pass rushers. That's why they're even changing the word to edge rush now. That's the word now, edge rush. Don't consider them outside backers. And he's gotten snubbed over and over. And you're right. It's going to show up on his resume like, oh, you only have 1 Pro Bowl voting. They said, but you got 4 All-Pros. And hopefully that's the thing I'll get excited for is when he gets on All-Pro, because it's a popularity contest when it comes to the Pro Bowl.
And that's got to stop, because you're eliminating some very good talent from being considered for the Hall of Fame by doing so.
Yep. When Clay Matthews got voted in, didn't play it down, but he gets marked for making the Pro Bowl, and he didn't play it down the entire season. And I believe Levante David missed that Pro Bowl because of that.
Yeah. Now on to, what was the other topic? Running backs? Nah, I can't talk about running backs, man. There's too many holes to fill in.
Will was talking about running backs because he did his mock draft. My mock draft came up as Andrew Thomas, Raekwon Davis at LSU, Jake Fromm in the 3rd round, Eno Benjamin, running back, Jordan Fuller, safety, and Jonathan Garvin.
Yeah, that sounds. Why would you want to add another? Okay, I can see adding another safety in case Dakota Dixon don't pan out, can't stay healthy.
That was a late round pick.
Justin Evans. We don't know about yet.
Yeah,
I can see adding one in the draft. I would not go out and get a vet because vet's going to take up development time from the rookies
and cash.
Yeah. I ain't as much worried about the cash as I'm worried about the development.
I know you want those boys to play. China Dean says do not take them off that field.
I was going to talk about.
What?
You guys hit on it. You said that you're talking about the offensive line. All right. I am not. We all know the offensive line needs help.
Mm-hmm.
But from 2018 to 2019, there was much improvement in that offensive line. The rankings went up like 12 spots, dude. And you know why that was?
Why?
Yeah. Where? Do you know why?
Why?
Because of coaching. Because they put the right people and got rid of Warthog.
Oh, yeah. Warthog. Warthrop, or how to pronounce his name? You said Warthog.
Warhawk.
Yeah, Warhawk, yeah.
Oh, my God. How long that guy stuck in there and why he was still around, I have no idea. But for 8 years, ever since Lovey came in and got rid of 3 Pro Bowler offensive linemen,
John Rizzuto.
Got rid of. All right. Here's something people don't realize either. Doug Martin had his best year behind that offensive line with Ernest Biner as the running backs coach, right? Hmm. What did Lovey do? He fired Ernest Biner and got rid of those 3 linemen. And where have the Bucs been since then, as far as the offensive line go?
In the toilet. I mean, lower 10.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Doug Martin, he got injured, got hooked on those pills,
mm-hmm.
which you can't blame him for that because that's what they do in the medical world. They finally discovered, we shouldn't really be giving these guys all this much
medication,
pain meds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but he was a victim of that as well because Doug Martin, healthy, was a baller. He was a baller, dude. And then all that happened. And also the line, Ernest Biner, I wish we could have kept him as a running backs coach. I really do.
Every running back he's coached has led the league.
Every one of them.
Every one.
And then Lovey has to come in and say, I don't like offense.
Well,
we haven't rebuilt that team. We're all right. We're still one piece away from replacing the ones that he got rid of.
Oh, you're talking about linemen?
Yeah.
Yep.
We got Ollie Marpet and we've got Kappa, which I think are good replacements for Donovan and Penn. But we're still looking for that third piece, man.
Yep, we need that. And that might be this draft. It's a lot lineman heavy draft here. There's a lot. I think there's going to be some sleepers in this draft. You can coach some of these guys up and get them motivated. Change the attitude of this offensive line, and become a team who wants to enforce their will running the ball. Because not only everybody's so keen on running backs, and I keep bringing up that point, everybody wants a running back in the draft. I said, do you just watch the Super Bowl and both teams succeeded with undrafted running backs? Let me say it again. Undrafted running backs. Why could they run? Because did you see the sizes of those holes they had to run through? You could drive a Mack truck through it. How large those running lanes were.
To be honest, Henry can make them lanes by himself, man.
Yeah.
He's one of the few that ever could do something like that. But
people don't want to get in Henry's way once he gets going, so they tend to sidestep him as they think about their career. And then if you try to arm tackle Henry, he's just going to run right through it. But Yes, I agree. Henry's going to be that guy, and he's going to get paid, and he's going to have a high expectation ceiling coming into 2020. So he kind of hurt himself with his success. So
here's what I'm looking for in the combine. I'm looking for Becton to have a bad day.
Drop.
Absolutely, because now he's already climbed over worse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not trending our way. That's trending the opposite way. And any of the top three would be great for me. I don't care. But I really like Becton. That attitude, he fits Ali Marpet and Kappa, dude. That attitude he's got, he's a beast. He's a mauler, and that's what we need. That's our Donald Penn, dude.
Yep, you need that guy, that enforcer, the guy that's going to throw people out the club. You need to have that guy.
If we take a D lineman, because I'm pretty sure we're going to need an interior defensive lineman.
Yep.
And I don't know if Becton or one of those guys, Anthony and them guys, aren't there, then I would have to say got to go for an interior defensive lineman, and then we can go for guards later on, because outside those 3 or 4, I'll give them 4. Outside the 4 top tackles, I don't see tackles that I would spend a 14th pick on.
Yep. I say you can pretty much move down, collect more picks, or try to bolster your roster. If the guys that you deem top aren't there, then by all means, go elsewhere and get whatever best player at another position, or move down and do so. Yeah, I agree with you. If the top guys ain't there, I don't think they should just settle for positional draft. Get the guy you want. If he's not there, then make other plans. I agree, Johnny.
Exactly. I just my next position would be interior defensive lineman, absolutely, and then I would look for an edge rusher later on.
Yep.
There's some good edge rushers out there. Believe me, there's good edge rushers that can be found in the 3rd round even.
Oh yeah, they're there.
Yeah, there's a ton of them out there. But that interior defensive lineman is like an offensive tackle. They're hard to find, dude. That's another thing. When people were yelling about drafting Vay, that position is hard to fill. It's not easily filled. We've been looking for a defensive tackle that can fill that spot since Roy Miller. Roy Miller wasn't that great.
Nope. Schiano, funny thing, he had his best year with Schiano when he made him one gap.
Yep.
All right.
I don't consider Schiano a bad X's and O's coach. I think he's a really good X's and O's coach. He's just not a good
head
player coach.
Yep, that too. Yep.
All right, man. I think I've caught up now.
No, you're good. Thanks, Johnny, as always.
All right, later on, bud.
Yeah. Johnny Dean, Will, Allison Kohler today. Talk about a whole lot. Oh, my goodness. It's 4:20. Well, let me get out of here, you guys. I appreciate you guys calling in. I had a mock draft Monday up there. Like I said, add us on Twitter, Facebook. This is the Blake Anthony Show, live on BucsReport.com. Every Monday and Friday, giving you all the things that you need to survive through the week. Deshaun Tisdale and you guys in the group, I kind of ignored you guys a little bit. Well, not I was reading it. Deshaun, I know how big Deshaun is on defensive line and offensive line and things like that. We talk all the time. Don't be hesitant to hit me up, guys, on social media. I'll answer. Yeah, appreciate you guys always calling in and everything, and I'm glad that today's topic with talking about female pay scale, and a lot of responses from females. They didn't want to get on live and things like that. It's fine too. We'll talk about that because you got to see a lot of men agreed there should be some changes, and I didn't know the WWE had one of the highest females, one of their highest paid employees. That's great because of the work she puts in. That's all somebody could ask for. And we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it, is entirely up to you. Thank you, guys. God bless, and fire those cannons.
There is a storm on the horizon. They say it follows a ship rigged with black sails. They'll destroy any.
I've always been told that I'm too small. I'm not big enough. I'm not fast enough. I don't have what it takes to be the best and stay there. Sweat is necessary.